We all know that buying bulk foods can be cheaper, but is it always worth it? Well, I would say it is, but if you had to choose five specific things to buy from the grocery store in the bulk section, I would say that you should buy these five things. These are things that are normally overpriced when they're packaged. These are things that go stale or just have a shorter shelf life than they do expiration date, if that makes any sense. So things that go stale, things that are no longer fresh, things that lose flavor over time. So these are the five things that I recommend that you buy in the bulk section. Number one, nuts and seeds, and especially hemp seeds. These little buggers are so expensive. They're so expensive when you buy them anywhere else. I find that at my local Winco, hemp seeds are very cheap. They're so cheap that I can afford to buy, they're not a staple. So the budget for things that are not staples tend to be kind of low. And so I can fill up this entire jar. It'll last me for a while, but with I think it costs around $3 to fill up this. I want to say it was probably a 16-ounce jar. It used to be a spaghetti sauce, and I filled it up with hemp seeds because I like to save jars. Anyway, so nuts and seeds are excellent sources of healthy fats. They are filling, they are compact, and they aren't very messy, which means it's easy to take them with you as a snack, or what I like to do with hemp seeds, I like to sprinkle them on top of my meals just to throw in a little fat, because the meals that I eat tend to be really low fat, and I prioritize proper brain function and then also moisturized hair and skin. So I like to make sure that I'm getting enough healthy fats. So nuts and seeds are great snacks because of that, but at the same time, they can be so expensive that some of us don't even consider adding them to our grocery list. You think, what do I need almonds for? They're going to be $10. And that can be true if you're buying them prepackaged, but if you buy them in bulk, you're paying by the pound, and you can see some amazing savings there. I believe I have some footage of the prices at my local grocery store on how much the basic nuts and seeds cost. The almonds, the cashews, hemp seeds, what else do we eat? Pecans, walnuts, things like that. Things that I try to add to my diet often, at least once or twice a week, sometimes more. I'll have a handful of nuts and seeds, and I really enjoy eating those as a snack because, again, they're just compact, they're easy, they're lightweight, and they're affordable if you buy them in the bulk section. So there's that. Number two would be protein powder. Now, protein powder is a great resource for us vegans, or anybody anyway, who's just looking to add protein to their diet. They're great for throwing into your smoothies. Sometimes people mix them into their oats and make these little cakes by microwaving them until they're firm. They look like they could be really good. I've never tried them. And also different desserts like mug cakes. There's just so many things that you can do with protein powder. But one container of protein powder can be anywhere from $20 to $45, just depending on the brand, whether or not you want the organic, it just depends on what you're looking for. But if you get your protein powder in bulk, you can save so much money. So much money. I'm talking about maybe $2 to $3 a pound, I believe. That's a good price. So I end up paying, I think when I buy protein powder, I fill up a large bag. I don't usually weigh it. I just kind of go by eye. So I'm trying to think of how much I normally get. I'm not sure, but I end up paying around $5 a bag, and that lasts me for a month. So you really should, if you have access to bulk foods, you should really consider buying your protein powder in bulk because you will save a lot of money. My local bulk store that I've made another video about, I'll pin the cards here. My local bulk store, Winco, they have a pea protein, they have Bob's Red Mill soy protein, and they have a PB Fit protein, peanut butter protein powder. They also have whey protein, but as far as the plant-based options, that's what they have. And they're so cheap. Last time I bought the peanut butter, but I think I'm going to switch back to Bob's Red Mill just because it doesn't have flavor, so it works well with everything that I make, and the PB Fit doesn't always, complement the kale smoothies that I'm making. It just kind of tastes kind of strange. The next thing on my list, number 3, would be coffee. So if you're a coffee drinker like me, then you probably understand the importance of having fresh coffee, right? You know that when your coffee is stale, it doesn't taste as great. It just isn't a great experience. So I like to buy my coffee in bulk. And the reason that I do that is because most of the Things like nuts and seeds and beans, and also the coffee beans, they're usually stored in a dispenser that is fed from the top and dispenses from the bottom, which means first in, first out, right? So when you buy your coffee, you're always buying the freshest coffee. It has a higher turnover rate. When you buy coffee on the shelf, you don't necessarily know how long it's been sitting there. Depending on what it is, it could have been sitting there for quite a while before you purchased it. So you have to add that time sitting on the shelf in the store to the amount of time that you have it sitting on the shelf in your house. So you could end up having beans that are going prematurely stale and you feel like, I'm treating them right. I'm not sure why they taste like this or why they smell like this. And it's because they've been sitting on the shelf. Whereas if you're buying them from bulk, you're more likely to have fresh beans. So I would consider buying them in bulk if I were you. I love doing that too because I like to mix different coffees. There are certain coffees that I feel, oh, this is really strong and rich and chocolatey, but it's a little too much. So I mix this in with a coffee that's a little bit lighter and a little bit sweeter, and they complement. So I did that recently with their dark Sumatra, I think is what it was called, and their cinnamon bun, and I made a really good blend of coffee. It was really nice. It really complemented the vanilla almond coffee creamer, I think, that I bought from Whole Foods. Yeah, it was just really good. I really enjoyed that. So that's a great option if you're a coffee drinker. Number 4, spices. So we all love to add spice to our food. We're vegan, but we're not flavorless. We like to add flavor to our food, right? So spices are great because you can, depending on what you're making, you can completely change up the flavor profiles just by mixing up your spices. The problem with spices though is that sometimes they're way too expensive for the amount that you're getting. You can get a little tiny, the little tiny red cap container. Sometimes this can be $3 to $5. And you can get the same amount of spices in the bulk section for 33 cents. I literally spent 33 cents on a spice that I was previously spending $3 for recently. And you get the same benefit that you get with coffee in the sense that it's fresher. So not everybody knows this, but the longer you have spices, the less flavor they have. This flavor diminishes as they get older. They're pre-ground. So just like coffee, if you buy pre-ground coffee, you have to use it faster because it'll go stale faster. The same thing with your spices. So when you buy in bulk, a lot of the spices are also, first in, first out, dispensed, like the coffee beans and the nuts and seeds. So you have the advantage of having fresher food. So not only is it cheaper, but it's probably going to taste better. So, there's no loss here other than the fact that you might have to buy a new reusable spice container. It was several hours later, and in all of the excitement of my camera app giving me trouble and showing ads interrupting my video, I forgot to film the 5th, and that was beans and grains. So as vegans, a lot of us get a good portion of our calories, our food for the day, in the form of beans and grains. So we all know that more times than not, it makes more sense to buy these ingredients dried in the bulk section rather than canned. So this might not be new information for you, but I just want to bring this up because there's more to it than just the price. There's also a larger variety. So there's always going to be more of a variety of beans and grains in the bulk section than there is on the shelf. And so the bulk section allows you not only to save money, but you can add more variety. You can try different foods. You can try different grains. Have you ever heard of bamboo rice? It's a green short grain rice that they have at the bulk section of Winco. I've never tried it, but I'm going to try it next time because it's so inexpensive. And that'll be another way to change up the grains that I have in my meal preps. I'm a very simple meal prepper, so I basically just swap in and out different vegetables and grains, and then the protein is either mock meat, tofu, tempeh, or something along those lines. So shopping dried grains and beans in the bulk section has allowed me to really change up my meal preps, to really switch them up, to really add flavor without adding to the price tag. I'm actually spending less money and getting more food and a more variety of the food. Like, you really can't beat that. So I honestly just believe that if you have access to bulk foods, you really should shop in the bulk area because that's just where you're going to get the most bang for your buck, vegan or not. There's no downside except if you have any serious food allergies, you run the risk of having more food contamination. That's the only downside. So if you have serious food allergies, for example, I actually didn't buy this in the bulk section. I bought this at H Mart. It was a bag of rice and beans, different kinds of rice, forbidden rice. When you cook it up, it ends up turning like purple. But anyway, I bring this up because this blend is not supposed to have soybeans in it. It says on the container, like, you know, with the ingredients, it doesn't mention that it may contain soy, but I have found soybeans in that mix. So I would be kind of hesitant if I were severely allergic to these things, because you might have one soybean within a, like, say you make a large portion of beans for yourself and your family, there might be one soybean in there contaminating your pot. So if you feel sick and you don't know why, that might be it. I'm not sure how much you have to eat of something to trigger your allergies, but that can happen with loose grains. They kind of mix up. So I don't know if that's less of a problem when you're buying canned. So if you're severely allergic, be safe with your health. You're important. You're more important than the couple dollars. But anyway, that's why I believe that we should buy beans and grains from the bulk section if we have the access and availability to do so. Now, one downside I will say to buying in bulk is that a lot of stores have posted signs lately that are saying that they don't have the ability to weigh your containers before you go into the bulk section, so that you can fill them up and pay for just the weight of your product and not the weight of your glass jar, which can make it more expensive than it would be to buy it in the package section. So that's just something you kind of have to weigh your options and decide. Maybe you can go with like a canvas bag, or like that's textile bags, that bags of flour, that large bags of flour sometimes come in. Maybe you can find some of those. They weigh virtually nothing, just like the plastic bags, so they don't add to your price. The only thing is you have to wash them. So that's just something that you'd have to think about. Do you want to throw those in your washing machine? I'd say it's not a big deal. Just make sure that it's as empty as possible before you wash it, and maybe wash them inside out. But that's a choice that you have to make. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it helpful. If you did, then feel free to like and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Also, leave a comment down below and let me know what you buy in the bulk section. I know these are things that I always buy in the bulk section, but what do you buy? What do you find the biggest savings in? I personally used to eat oats every day, and I could buy huge bags of oats. I'm talking like they were probably 2 pounds, probably, yeah, I think at Winco they're 33 cents a pound. So 2 pounds of oats for 66 cents. There's no beating that. That's amazing. So anyway, let me know what you buy in the bulk section, and I really appreciate you watching this video. I will see you later. Bye.